Welcome to the studio at That Nerd Show. I'm Marcus Blake, and this is your daily nerd news for Monday, March 2nd, 2020. Antonio Banderas and more will be joining the cast alongside Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg in the Uncharted movie. A little bit more about that. Antonio Banderas, who was recently in the running for Best Actor, the Best Actor Oscar for his performance in Pain and Glory, has signed on to co-star in the Uncharted movie. Sony Films' adaptation of the best-selling PlayStation action-adventure video game series created by Naughty Dog. As well, Sophia Ali from Truth or Dare and Grey's Anatomy, and Tati Gabriella, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, have also joined Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg in the film, which has Ruben Fleischer on board to direct, replacing the previously attached director Travis Knight. So we've reported on this before that there is an Uncharted movie starring Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. Tom Holland playing the younger version of Nathan Drake. But a little bit more is starting to come out about this film. Art Makram and Matt Holloway penned the current draft of the screenplay. Charles Roven and Alex Gatner are producing for Atlas Entertainment. And Avi Arad and Ari Arad for Arid Productions, PlayStation Productions, Assad Quizzlebash, and Carter Swan will serve as executive producers. The film is slated for release in a year on March 5th, 2021. But Banderas will also be seen next in The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard with Ryan Reynolds and Samuel L. Jackson, and is currently filming the Spanish comedy drama Copencia Oficial with Penelope Cruz. Ali, whose co-stars in the upcoming Amazon young adult series The Wilds, is also just recently starred in the CW's The 100. Now, we don't have any official word on who they will be playing in this movie, but it looks like that they're going to be playing some familiar faces from the game series. So we'll be waiting to get more news about that. But anyway, we got more coming to this latest game adaptation, or for a movie. We're going to check it out and see how it is. Uncharted has been one of our favorite gaming series here at That Nerd Show. So we don't know really what to expect from an Uncharted movie, but we'll definitely be checking it out in a year when it gets released. In other movie news, top of the box office again for third week in a row is Sonic the Hedgehog. It performed its hat trick at the box office, but closely behind it, The Invisible Man came in with a 49 million box office funds on a global scale. So a little bit more about what's going on at the box office this week. Universal Blumhouse's The Invisible Man made its first appearance at the international box office this weekend, scaring up 20.2 million in 47 markets combined with the strong domestic start. This is a Leigh Whannell directed film, and it debuted for 49.2 globally in like offshore openings. This is the Elizabeth Moss film, and it's tracking in line with Lights Out, A Quiet Place, and Get Out. It's also running about 19% above Blumhouse's Happy Death Day. So a little bit more, while Sonic the Hedgehog is still king at the box office, it has been playing for 3 weeks, and of course you can go check out Alex Moore's review on our website. Producer Jason Blum was out touting the movie with his team in the UK, France, Spain during the mid-February, and the Sightings saw good dividends. The top opening market from a 7 million production was the UK at 2.6 million from 580 locations, followed by France 2.2 million from 355, and Mexico at 1.85 million with 929. Latin America typically leans into horror, though Invisible Man is playing more like a thriller. So that's what's going on with that. Sonic the Hedgehog is still number one at the box office, but for an opening weekend performance, The Invisible Man is right behind it. In other movie news regarding The Invisible Man and director Leigh Whannell, He just recently signed a Blumhouse deal for film and television. He's been a long-time Blumhouse writer and director. Just signed another overall deal. Over the course of 10 years, Whannell and Blumhouse have collaborated on 7 projects, including The Invisible Man, which is, of course, in theaters right now. The 2-year first look deal will cover projects that Whannell proposes to write, direct, and produce. Jason Blum, Blumhouse's CEO and founder, praised Whannell's vision. He was quoted as saying that Leigh creates movies which not only build franchises but fundamentally change the landscape of their genre. After he and James Wan made Saw, it launched dozens of copycats. Their work with Blumhouse on Insidious founded not just a franchise, but dozens of classical PG-13 supernatural horror films. And he also said that he has no doubt that this will be true for The Invisible Man and for anything else he wants to create. And he just wanted to be clear, and he just basically wanted to be there with him when he does. Whannell has also reflected on his deal by saying, 10 years ago, I walked into Jason Blum's office thinking that I was having a general meeting with the producer who liked horror movies. Little did I know that a decade-long partnership and friendship was about to begin. I have since watched his then infinite company Blumhouse grow into a powerhouse of genre films, a nurturing place that is willing to take risk on people. Indeed, they have taken plenty of risk on me, and I look forward to talking more and more with them as they continue to grow in the world of film and television. A little bit about Leigh Whannell, if you're not familiar with him. He was born in Melbourne, Australia. He began his career as an actor. He was also a presenter on the cult hit TV series Recovery, which he later went on to host in the last 2 seasons. As a film critic on Recovery, Whannell interviewed names such as George Clooney, Jackie Chan, and Tim Burton. The co-creator of Saw, he studied film at the prestigious Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, where he met filmmaker James Wan. They collaborated on the 2004 Lionsgate release of Saw, which Whannell wrote and starred in himself. In addition to his work on the including the screenplay for Saw 2, Whannell wrote and starred in Saw 3 and is executive producer on the Saw franchise itself. He is also a creative consultant on its video game. The franchise is recognized as one of the most successful horror movie series and was named so by the Guinness Book of World Records in 2010. Also, a little bit more about Leigh Whannell. You can check out an interview that we did with him a couple of years ago in regards to his film Upgrade. We had a great time talking with him. Very wonderful person and director to talk to. And it's always hard to keep a conversation just to 10 minutes when you love a film, when you talk to a guy who loves film and telling stories and you go off on different tangents. But it was one of the funnest interviews I ever had. So, congratulations to Leigh Whannell. Can't wait to see what he does next. And The Invisible Man, of course, is an interesting film in its own right. But we also like to recommend films that you may not have heard of or that have become cult classics. So when it comes to Leigh Whannell, I always like to recommend to people, if you love horror comedy, you must check out his film Cooties, that starred Rainn Wilson and Elijah Wood. And anyway, it's an incredible, funny horror genre movie about zombies where it's only the kids who turn into zombies after eating chicken McNuggets. And the teachers have to fight their way through school and to safety against zombie-eating children. One of my favorite horror comedy movies that's out there. Pardon the interruption while you watch this fantastic video by That Nerd Show. But we wanted to remind you that when you're done, go to mynerdswag.com and check out all the cool swag that we sell to help support this great news outlet. Yeah, if you like funny gaming or pop culture retro t-shirts, we have them. If you want a fantastic nerd bracelet, show your love as a nerd, we have that. We are also the home of the Baby Yoda t-shirt. That's right, we got a Baby Yoda t-shirt that you can buy and help support That Nerd Show. So when you're done, go to mynerdswag.com, check it out, help support the show and keep the lights on. Every purchase helps. In other news, we turn our attention to TV news. We're getting a little bit more information about the NBC pilot based off Dan Brown's book, The Lost Symbol, Langdon. Anyway, it's just been confirmed that Ashley Zukerman will play the famed Symbologist on the NBC pilot. So it looks like they have their casting. And for those of you wondering if Tom Hanks is going to come back to TV, not so much. But the Succession standout Ashley Zukerman has been tapped for the title role in Langdon, NBC's drama pilot based on the Dan Brown's best-selling thriller novel. In the project from I Imagine Television, CBS TV Studios, and Universal Television, he takes on the character played by Tom Hanks in the movie trilogy The Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, and Inferno. Written by Dan Dworkin and Jay Beatty, Langdon follows the early adventures of the famed Harvard symbologist Robert Langdon, who must solve a series of deadly puzzles to save his kidnapped mentor and thwart a chilling global conspiracy. This is actually kind of a prequel to The Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons. Dworkin and Beatty executive produced with Brown and Imagine Entertainment's Brian Grazer and Ron Howard. The Lost Symbol is the third Brown novel featuring the character of Langdon, following Angels and Demons and the Da Vinci Code, and it's set after the events of the Da Vinci Code. So if you're not familiar with the movies or how it went, or if you are, the Da Vinci Code is not the first Langdon story that you get. It was actually Angels and Demons, and then the Da Vinci Code. And of course, in the Dan Brown's timeline, the Last Symbol comes after that, then Inferno. The Langdon TV series is a natural extension to the Robert Langdon universe. Imagine Entertainment had built on the feature side with the Da Vinci Code, Angels and Demons, and Inferno, based on the fourth book in his series. Zukerman has a recurring role on the buzzy HBO drama series Succession as Nate Sofrelli, a political strategist and former romantic partner of Shiv's. He also stars in the upcoming horror film Fear Street trilogy for Fox and Chernin Entertainment. He can next be seen starring opposite Kate Mara in the FX Limited series A Teacher from writer-director Hannah Fidel. He's an Australian-American actor whose series credits also include GNA's Manhattan and the Australian thriller The Code, which earned him a Logie Award nomination. So expect to see that pilot come out in the fall, as NBC and other networks are preparing their pilots to set up what they will be releasing on TV, or hopefully to be releasing on TV in the season of 2021. That's what's going on in the world of TV, streaming, and movie news. Now we turn our attention to gaming news and what's going on in the world of gaming. Our first bit of item gaming is Borderlands 3 is putting the love back into Lovecraft with its latest DLC. If you're not familiar with this, we're going to tell you. At PAX East 2020, Gearbox revealed its next chunk of Borderlands 3 DLC, Guns, Love, and Tentacles, the marriage of Wainwright and Hammerlock, and it will launch across all available platforms from March 26. We took a break from picking out a hat to chat to Gearbox, Dan Whitted, and Jonathan Rancout about the impending nuptials. We didn't personally. This is from a news article off Gaming Radar, but here's what they had to say in regards to this DLC. We just love these two characters so much, so it made sense for us, said Rancourt when asked why Wainwright and Hammerlock were chosen to be the stars of the DLC. And we know they were the fan favorites as well. There's a trailer that you can check out on YouTube that has some serious HP Lovecraft vibes, as well as the usual Borderlands 3 mayhem. They were also quoted as saying that we took the inspiration from Eldritch Horror, as well as the main things we wanted to do at the start is put the love back in Lovecraft. We added this contrast in the environment we were building as well, so we're going to see those huge atmospheric landscapes with fog in the distance obscuring the vision of the player. Then when you're going to go into the interiors, it's going to be darker, grittier, and there's going to be enemies lurking in the shadows to keep the player on the edge of their seat. So you can check that out here the next few weeks with the latest DLC of Borderlands 3. One of our favorite games from 2019. It was actually in our top 3 across the board. The other piece of gaming news that we have is about the new expansion pack for The Division 2, WarLords of New York. Now, if you are a fan of the Division games, especially Division 2, you've probably been seeing the ads, especially with all the sales that Ubisoft has had over the last few weeks. Well, WarLords of New York dropped a little early, starting today. You're probably starting to see a huge update on your Xbox or your PlayStation or your PC. That's taking quite a long time. But anyway, it dropped a little early. Yes, if you got it or you're on the season pass and you got some early access to it, you can start playing it today. It wasn't scheduled to be released until tomorrow, or at least at midnight tonight. But we're also going to tell you a little bit about how the Division 2's WarLords of New York update changes gear and loot. And there's already been some, well, scuttle, so to speak, in regards to the servers being shut down, download times and how the game has changed. I know that our squad leader already commented on it early this morning with me. So we're going to tell you a little bit about what to expect. And we also have a recent announcement from Ubisoft regarding maintenance. So here we go. You will see some big changes with the upcoming WarLords of New York expansion returning to New York City. The expansion will have 4 players face off against familiar Big Bad Aaron Keener and his squad of rogue agents in order to stop another biological attack on the city. In addition to revisiting the city where the franchise started, the expansion will also introduce a suite of changes to the game's familiar loot and shoot dynamic to make the power grind a bit more accessible for all players. Hey, we'll be the first to tell you this is not an easy game. During our hands-on with the game's upcoming expansion, which is actually out now, as we mentioned, testers have had a chance to listen to developers talk about how the first year went for the Division 2 and why the gear and power growth systems were in need of change. In addition to improving general RNG for new loot across the world tiers, the overall gear system has been revised to do a better job of conveying changes to power growth for players. Explained, they were satisfied with the game's original power grind from levels 1 to 30, but they addressed that the end game grind, where most players hit a wall on the account of how cumbersome the gear menus and inventory IU was, they will be streamlined and made more accessible when WarLords of New York releases. So if you're just getting to the end, you will definitely see some changes and will not have some of the same problems that we have experienced over the last year. Along with new exotics and legendary weapons, the Division 2 will now include a God roll items, which will let you hunt down a particular weapon with a set of stats that are cut above the rest. The developers at Massive Entertainment stated that it was important to convey weapon power to players while also including more of a reason to want to go on the hunt for particular weapons. Okay. Another big change coming are the adjustments to the various character builds such as DPS, tank, and skill builds. Over the course of the year, Ubisoft noticed that players tend to stick with DPS builds in order to maximize the effectiveness during fights, which left other variable builds like tank and skill underutilized, along with gear collaboration being more streamlined, which will now negate the need to save different gear pieces to presets. The various skill mods in particular have been simplified to address the changes to character builds. The revised systems coming to the game are intended to present a more flexible approach to letting players grow their characters in the ways they want, which will make endgame less of an exhausting and repetitive grind. So, some of the things that we've already noticed is how, while this is all good, there have definitely been some problems with the sights or the aiming when you're behind coverage, when you're trying to set up your aim. And of course, the update did shut down the servers this morning, so only about half the gamers were able to actually get logged into the Division 2 to be able to play the new expansion. Well, Ubisoft knows what's going on, and they just announced about an hour ago that the servers will shut down for unscheduled maintenance on Tuesday, March 3rd at 9:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. or 3:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time to deploy several fixes. Estimated downtime is approximately 3 hours. So they're trying to do it in the middle of the night to make it easier for most of us here, people in the U.S. who are playing this game. So if you're up at that time trying to play, there will be maintenance. Don't freak out. You'll just have to play something else for the time being. All right, so here is also what else is going on and what they announced. We are working on the fixes below, but they will require further testing. While we want to deploy these during the maintenance, we are currently cannot guarantee which fixes will go live. They will continue to update on the status during the maintenance. So here are the top 4 things. They're going to be fixing an issue that prevents the objective of Reach City Hall of the Worlds of New York introduction mission from updating and teleporting players to a different location. They will be fixing an issue that causes players who quit the helicopter cinematic to get placed into and stuck in Trinity Church. They will also be fixing an issue that prevents players from interacting from community leader NPCs. And of course, they will further back-end improvements to prevent the echo errors to occur for players, which has been a main problem starting in the middle of the night last night since WarLords of New York dropped early. So Ubisoft is on it. As I said, don't freak out. Things are getting fixed if you're getting into this expansion pack. But you should be able to get back into it within 24 hours tomorrow night and see these improvements. If nothing else, definitely within a couple of days. That's what's going on in the world of gaming. Only 2 big items. Of course, the more news that we have about the new consoles, which we're still waiting on an announcement by Sony about the new PlayStation 5, we will let you know. But there you have it. If you're playing the Division 2, lots going on over the next day or so, especially for the expansion pack, which might be a good time to get back into the first Division game, which you can find pretty cheap at GameStops and other places right now. And of course, their season pass is pretty cheap with Ubisoft's big publisher sale. But that's what's going on in the world of gaming, TV, and movie news. And now to our question of the day. Our first news item today had to do with the Uncharted movie that's starring Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. So our question has to do with the Uncharted movie. Why do we need an Uncharted movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg? Why do we need one at all? It sounds like to me that this is going to be yet another gaming movie where they completely screw up what is a great franchise and a great story within the games that you get to play. We've had this argument time and time again about movies, being adapted from games. It's hit or miss. The last Tomb Raider movie was not that bad of a movie. It was very loosely based on, it was pretty much based on the first Tomb Raider game that was rebooted in 2013. But the Uncharted movie has kind of been in development hell for a long time. And while we all agree here, at least at that nerd show, that the Uncharted series is a fantastic series. Nathan Drake is one of the best characters in gaming. Just incredible games to play. Why do we need this movie where we're having a young Nathan Drake? Can you even make an Uncharted movie that's worth watching with a young Nathan Drake? If you've played Uncharted 3, then you know that you do get a backstory about how Nathan Drake and Sully met. And you get to play that out. And it's great. It definitely cements, a great little prequel within the overall story. But an overall movie where you're kind of getting, getting a young Nathan Drake, doesn't this really just feel like watching an adventure Indiana Jones type movie with Peter Parker, who Tom Holland plays in the Marvel Universe? And can we really see Mark Wahlberg as a Sully? I know Mark Wahlberg likes to be in everything when it comes to action movies, and we're not taking away from Mark Wahlberg as an actor. Like any actor, he's done good movies and he's done bad movies. But Uncharted is one of those great franchises where you get this great Indiana Jones snarky character that's, about mid-30s. Okay? It's pretty much a character similar to when Harrison Ford first played Indiana Jones in Raiders of the Lost Ark. Somebody who's in their mid-30s. Okay? Do we really care about a young, version of Nathan Drake? I mean, I get flashbacks. We're not denying that. Again, Uncharted 3 as a game was great with the flashbacks. Okay? You got to play, a younger version and the regular Nathan Drake that we all love. But I gotta be honest with you, the more I keep hearing about this movie, the more that I'm just, I'm not interested. I just feel like this is going to be a train wreck of a movie and ruin my love for the game. I could at least appreciate the Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider movie. She was good. Everybody was fairly good in it. It wasn't a great movie, but it was a fun movie. The games are still better, but like I said, I mean, but she was also about the right age of Lara Croft in that first Tomb Raider movie. So it wasn't hard to imagine her, if you've played those games, that, she was a good fit for it. I just don't see this happening. And another reason I don't personally see this happening is about 2 years ago, Nathan Fillion financed a little fan film where he was Nathan Drake, basically being captured and breaking into a house to get a map that was going to lead them to El Dorado. And, Stephen Lang played an older Sully. It was great. It was the first time we ever reviewed a fan film and got excited for it. And it was like, this is the Uncharted movie that we've been waiting for. This is Nathan Drake. And Nathan Fillion at the time was perfect. Okay. And we've always kind of wanted to see Nathan Fillion as a Nathan Drake. We figured he would be perfect for it. But this, I'm sorry. I just don't see this movie really getting us engrossed in an Uncharted movie franchise with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. So why do we need it anyway? Shouldn't we just... I know this movie's been in development hell, and we've gone back and forth over trying to make an Uncharted movie, which might be good, but it's also beginning to sound more and more like Indiana Jones 4, where, yeah, we'll go see it for nostalgia's sake, but it's clearly not as good as the first three. And we probably shouldn't be making any more, despite the fact that Harrison Ford wants to keep playing Indiana Jones, his favorite character of all the characters that he's played. So, let us know what you think. Why do we need an Uncharted movie with Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg? Should we recast? Should we, find older actors to play these roles? Does it really even seem like Tom Holland would be a good Nathan Drake? I mean, again, maybe a younger version in flashbacks. But Mark Wahlberg as Sully, if you've played the games, then you know what I'm talking about. I just honestly don't buy him as Sully. Stephen Lang and Nathan Fillion's fan film? Absolutely. That was perfect casting. But again, we want to know what you think. So you can tweet us out at That Nerd Show on Twitter. Tell us your thoughts of why we need this movie or not. I'm Marcus Blake with That Nerd Show, and this has been your daily nerd news for March 2nd, 2020. Until the next time, goodbye. Hello there, fellow nerds. I'm Marcus Blake, the editor and producer of That Nerd Show, and we need your help. That's right, we need your support. Like any news outlet, we rely on advertising and donations to keep the lights on. To be the greatest show in this universe, we need funding, and that's where you come in. Like most artists out there, we actually have a Patreon account, and we're asking for donations. But we're not just asking for you to give us money. We actually have stuff that we're going to be giving away if you donate. So we'll be uploading more and more videos to our Patreon account from YouTube, from our daily news to interviews with celebrities to gaming videos and all of our other individual shows that we are doing here in 2020. But to keep us going, we need a little bit of funding. And again, that's where you come in. So It can be as little as $1. $1 makes all the difference in the world. And you can do anywhere from $1 to $3 to $5, all the way up to $500. And we're going to be giving stuff away for your donations. So you can get some Nerd Power wristbands or any other wristbands from our series of wristbands that we're creating for nerds. You can get cool retro gaming t-shirts from our Nerd Swag shop if you make a donation of $20 or more. You can even get advertising on our website or within our videos if you make a purchase or donate $50 or more dollars. We have different tiers, like most artists. Want that new video game that's coming out this year? You want to be playing the same video game we are as we're reviewing it? Hey, you can do that with a $100 donation. Are you looking to get a new console before the year is out? Hey, $500 and you can get an Xbox One, a PlayStation 4, or even a Nintendo Switch. It just takes a little bit to help us. As little as $1 per video that we do. And we're going to have a variety of videos that you can help support. So if you like our content, if you like everything that we do as nerds, from honest conversations about pop culture to great celebrity interviews to wacky and fun gaming videos, then help support us on our Patreon account. You can check us out at patreon.com/thatnerdshow. You can check us out at patreon.com/that. Take 3. Go to patreon.com/thatnerdshow and make your donation today. Even if it's just $1, we would greatly appreciate it. Thank you and stay nerdy.